All right, so now we're going to delve into our design challenge. If you go to this link, tinyurl.com/design, you should be able to see that we're partnering you with a partner. Okay? That's on the first sheet. So if I click on it, you'll see it takes you to this spreadsheet. Now there are actually two sheets on the spreadsheet. The bottom one is pairs. The next one is teams. Don't worry about teams yet. You're looking at pairs right now. Yeah. I'll show you again. I'll show it to you. So I'm going to.
It's in this one.
Okay. Okay, now you might not know everyone's names, right? Which is fine, no problem. We're going to take basically, like 45 seconds to shout each other's names and find your partner. Right? You're going to find your partner and sit next to them. And you don't need to take this stuff with you necessarily right now, but just find your partner, okay? Go, let's go. Yeah. Everyone's good. Okay. Awesome.
Been there. Anyway.
All right. So right now we're going to be mindful listeners, which is obviously you have to do that if you want to have true empathy for someone, okay, and really understand them and understand where they are. So we are going to play a really quick game of mindful listening. And so right now in your pairs, choose who's A and who's B. Go.
A.
All right. Person A, all you have to do is think of a true story from your life that maybe elicited positive emotions. It could be like, oh, I went to this wedding last week and it was beautiful and whatever. Just like a true story, 30 seconds. Explain as many details as you can in 30 seconds. And person B, you're just listening, but you're really listening. You know what I'm saying? You are here and here. You know how you can be here and not be here? Yeah. You are here and here, fully, with the other person. Cool? And I'm going to time it. It's only going to be 30 seconds. Okay.
Right.
All right. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, totally stepped up and did it for me. Yes! The whole thing was awesome and I can't wait to finish it. Keep going. Oh, wait.
Awesome. Person B, here's your task. Person B, you are going to reflect on person A what they just said. However, here's how you do it. You're going to do it in the first person. For example, let's say Corinne told me about a wedding she went to, okay? Or a sister or something. So what I would do to Corinne right now is I'd say, I went to this amazing wedding with my sister. She looked so beautiful. Get it? All right? And you're going to do it for 30 seconds. Ready?
That's really weird.
Go.
Hey.
How well did they do?
8 out of 10. I'm not actually on the top floor. Oh, just right here. No, it was the lady next to me went to the top.
Right on, cool. So you gotta reciprocate it now. You're gonna be a bit of a twist. I'll tell you what the twist is in a sec. Okay? Person B now, you're gonna be doing the same thing. You're gonna be telling a story. It's 30 seconds. It's gotta be true, a true story. Cool? You guys ready? No? You need a sec? Yeah. Think of the story. You have 4 seconds. I'm just kidding. Think of the story. Got it?
Okay.
Now,
We have got a new scroller, and so he was able to be really
You're going to do something similar. You're going to go back to person and you're going to recount their story in the first person, okay? Just like they did for you. However, you're going to do it in 60 seconds as opposed to 30. Now, one of them you might be wondering, like, wait a second, they just told me a 30-second story. Which means that, yeah, you might be making things up. Which is totally, all right? You can totally make things up. You know, but reflect back to the story. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, it's like 60 seconds and keep talking. Okay? Like 45, keep talking until 60. Ready? Here we go.
I'm a history teacher. This is what I do.
I want this to be your journey.
So now my question is really the person, person who just, got this back. Who said that right now? Sorry, person B.
Person A.
Hey. So how was it? Did I get you?
Totally.
Going down with like,
All the embellishments were legal or he got in trouble. And he actually said he wished all of the untrue.
Yeah. But let me ask you, it's actually a very important question, the next one. You told them a 30-second story. They came back with a 60-second story. Obviously, not all of it was true, what they told you back, but you felt like they got you, for the most part. Okay? How could that happen? Like, what do you think we did when we listened to one another that gets us to really get the other person to the point where we can, sort of invent the story, but that still aligns, that still kind of jives with the original story. Yeah.
Empathy or connections?
Yeah, so empathy, a connection. How do you establish that empathy, that connection? Yeah.
I think you're it's more than the words you're listening to, you're reading their emotions and their body language.
Got it.
But you asked us to put ourselves in their shoes. That was where the empathy came from. To imagine what it would be like for that person.
Yeah, so you imagined, right? You used your imagination. I hear that you listen to not just the words, you listen to a bunch of other teams. What were you going to say?
For ours, we built stories of car accidents. So when I was first, and when I told my story, I was there thinking about it, and then she told her story of the car accident, so I was able to embellish because I was in there, I was thinking about car accidents.
And it was amazing that I didn't tell her the whole story, but then everything details that she imagined is exactly the same. I feel like I didn't even need to finish my story.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing when you actually empathize and you're there with the person. And then what can happen? And then
I was just thinking, what would happen if we did your worst moment?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll do something similar later.
I thought it was helpful visualizing their stories. So, when Linda was telling hers, I kind of envisioned me there, and it helped. It helped with it.
Right. Okay. The vast majority of communication is nonverbal. Right? Like so much communication is listening to what is not said. Right? Just like you were saying. And so much of it when really empathy is truly like putting yourself in their shoes. Imagine if we taught this to our students. Like if we really knew how to be mindful in the present moment and listen to somebody else without thinking about what they're going to say next and all this stuff. Imagine if we did that. And imagine if we cultivated that as a skill that we have as teachers. Now I know that some of us are really good at it, but things can get really tough and take a lot of time, right? When you're a teacher, and sometimes you don't want to listen to a kid who's yammering, right? It's so important, right? That we try as much as possible to remember that skill and to model that for students. So, do you want to move? So we have only a few more minutes, okay? But before we're done, we're breaking for lunch. But we're going to kind of delve into design thinking through it.
Yeah, through lunch. So what we're going to do now is, with all these exercises, and this was a great lead-in for it, we're going to imagine how we re-envision or reimagine the waking up experience. But your partner is not going to be someone in the classroom, it's going to be a teen. And so at lunchtime, we're inviting some teens from the camp across the way to come over. They're being lured with pizza. And you're going to ask them some questions about their waking up experience. It's definitely going to be different than yours in some ways. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask your user, your teen, what they like most about waking up. They've got to find something. I know some of them are going to say, I can't think of anything. Draw it out of them. And then, yeah. And then ask them, what do you like least about waking up? And I'm sure they'll have a lot to say. And then you're going to ask the user to share a story, sort of like what we just did, actually, about waking up. So you want to capture something about their experience and note their, not just what they say, but like you were saying, their emotions and their body language and other cues that aren't actually just in what they're saying. Okay, so you're going to do 3 things. You're going to ask them what they like the most, what they like the least, and share a story. Okay?
We'll give you a very specific tool to use in a second. We'll show you.
So you're going to capture those notes on Post-it notes, right? And you're looking to make a connection with them, right? Not just contact. And we're going to do what's called an empathy map. And each team is going to get a piece of paper. You're going to fold it so you have quadrants. And you're going to capture what they say about waking up, what they do when they wake up. This is observed, like we're going to talk about, you can do science vocabulary. Inferred is going to be, well, what do you think they think about waking up? What do you think that is, are they fearful of waking up because they've got a long task of things to do, or do they think it's really fun because they're excited? Their thoughts and their feelings. How are you going to infer those? How are you going to get that out? And you're going to fill this in, these quadrants. But your first step is just to really ask them what they like the most about it, what they like the least about waking up, and to share a story. And from those first 2, you can kind of actually plug in, right? What they're saying, what they're doing when they wake up. You can even get that from the story. But this is where you got to work a little bit harder. What do they think about waking up in the morning? What do they do when they wake up? Okay. Yeah.
So this is plan A, okay? And the students should be here. It should totally work. Plan B, if they're not here for some reason, is we will probably have to interview one another simply because we're running out of time. But hopefully it will work out. So the way it's going to work is they're going to come actually to the KCI, to that main room. And what I would ask is that in your pairs, you basically flag. We're going to have like one pair interview a student. Okay. So this pair is going to be a student. This another student. We have about 25 pairs. We have about 25 students. So there's a pair, just like flag one down. Okay, take your pizza, come sit. Okay. Any questions for me about that? Okay. We time-wise, okay, we're basically going to go right now. They should be here between 12 and 12:15, so you can start eating your lunch, and they're going to trickle in. You can come and work with them. We'll gather all this information on a sheet of paper or on your computer or whatever you want.
Whatever you prefer. I've got Post-it notes here. You can do this on your phone. Just make sure you're bucketing these categories.
Right.
Capture story.
Basically, by 12:45, we would like you guys to be back, okay? And so we're going to start. Any questions on the empathy map itself? So again, to be clear, this is what you think they're thinking. This is what you think they're feeling. This is what you're inferring. Yeah.
We complete the empty map after we're done interviewing.
No, well, it's kind of like tests, right? Like, so one person, well done it, is one person can ask the question, another person captures it. You want to answer?
I kind of do it in tandem, and sometimes I will refine the map afterwards. So I like to just interview, capture notes, and share it back with them. You can do it in tandem, or you can do the what they like least, what they like most, capture a story, and then this helps you refine that data, right? I actually kind of generally do this, not after, but a little later in the collecting of the information.
Show them the empathy map.
You can if you want. It may be kind of cool to share what you're doing.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
What do you like most? So you're asking them, what do you like most about waking up? Or you can start what do you like least, because they'll probably have more to share. What do you like most? Tell me a story about waking up. And then say, oh, I'm doing this map here. This seems to be what you say. This is what you're doing. I think this is how you feel. Do I have this right? What do you think? Yeah? Okay, and we have paper back here that you can grab if you don't have paper, or you can...
Can I just say something that back when I was telling you that I worked with what I do with my students and stuff, they actually went into Takara's classroom. So, Takara is awesome. Just want to let you know. All right. So,
Partner note.
yeah. So with your partner, basically, you're going to go eat lunch with your partner. Is that what you're
The same partner.
Same
we
partner.
just
Same
worked?
partner you just worked with.
So we're supposed to eat and do this activity.
You eat, enjoy your food.
We'll leave this up, but you may want to grab a
You can do like eat for 20 minutes,
Say
then 25 minutes, then you can do this.
Did you bring your lunch?